50th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select, with the second pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select,
with the 98th pick in the 2016 Draft, the Denver Broncos select,
the Denver Broncos select, Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama, Von Miller, linebacker, Texas A&M,
Justin Simmons, defensive back, Boston College,
Pat Surtain Jr., defensive back, Alabama.
Hey Broncos country, I'm Lori Lattimore Volkman, and it's been a minute since the roundup has been around. But the draft is here, and so am I, because so are the Broncos, at least eventually. Since Sean Payton was named new head coach of the Denver Broncos more than 2 months ago, news out of Dove Valley has been a little sparse. Payton runs a tight ship, and that means not a lot of leaks for the media. Denver did have a big splash at the beginning of free agency in March, signing 10 players and spending more than $235 million, mostly to beef up the O-line, something Sean Payton had been hinting ever since he was hired as a place of need. And he wasn't kidding. They went hard after the O-line and brought in some big-time players to hopefully make that much better. Overall, an impressive start to your head coaching career in Denver.
We haven't forgotten about you guys in the media.
Could have used a few press conferences, Sean. I'm just saying.
We understand that you want to visit with those players, and that's coming up in phase 2, I think.
Besides free agency, the only other big news out of Dove Valley has been the unveiling of a new helmet in the fall of 2023. Possibly a white one? As long as players are getting their bodies and minds right for a winning season, I don't care what color that helmet is or what they wear. Wear whatever you want. Go back to the old school uniforms for all I care. Just win a game. And that definitely seems to be Payton's plan.
The guys are lifting and running. And then, phase 1 will gradually move into phase 2. It's our first chance to meet, interact, and be around. And so, it was kind of quiet crickets here for a while. And then last Tuesday was the beginning of it.
While players are back at the facility getting stronger, the Payton and Payton duo is in the war room getting ready for the third round of the draft. The Broncos aren't slated to pick until they have back-to-back picks at the beginning of the third round. That's right. By the time Denver is on the clock for the first time, every other team will already have its star player and possibly a major contributor to its roster. That's because the first round pick we acquired for sending Bradley Chubb to the Miami Dolphins last season was promptly used to get Sean Payton, who was brought in to fix Russell Wilson. They don't say that. It's true. Who we traded for last season with, you guessed it, last year's and this year's first round picks. So, no first round for us, baby, but we've got a coach and a really expensive quarterback, and now hopefully we're on the right track. But that's in the past, and we are looking to the future. A future, mind you, that includes a decent quarterback, a stout offensive line, a complementary running game, and a defense that continues to hold its own. That's the dream anyway. Given that we aren't picking until 67 and 68 at the top of the third round, barring any trade ups or trade backs, it's a little tough to guess which players the Broncos might be targeting for their board. Who knows if they even know? It seems pretty clear there are a few key positions they may be targeting. Running back, cornerback, edge rusher, possibly defensive line, and maybe still offensive line. Because Sean Payton loves himself some Bill Parcells playbook. And that playbook stems around a good O-line. There's also been a little speculation this week that the Broncos are going to trade up to go after one or two particular players. Mile High Report's Scotty Payne pointed out there's a little smoke that Sean Payton is interested in more of an inline blocker at tight end. And if that's the case, there are a couple who could still be around that the Broncos may want to get, but they would probably have to move up a little to get them. And that includes Darnell Washington and Luke Musgrave. Side note, I happened to be at the 2019 draft when the Broncos drafted a tight end in the first round, Noah Fant. Very cool experience, fun to meet him, seemed like a great addition to the team, but alas, was never used or tapped for his potential or able to find his own potential to actually contribute to the Broncos offense. Here's hoping that if Peyton goes for another tight end, he has a much better idea how to use him. Given that the Broncos have been inconsistent, to say the least, at drafting over the past 10 years, the main goal for Peyton and Peyton will be to find solid value at positions of need.
You've got to be able to be a little bit, I don't want to say reactionary, but the scenarios that fall to you with every round and then every pick, the spray is a little wider.
So you just never want to be closed-minded. We've traded up where I've been. We've traded back a lot. It kind of depends what's behind you as well.
Both claim they'll be picking best player available, but they also note you have to be flexible on draft day because you just never know who you might want to get.
Grading from the very top of the board through the first round, through the second, is if you had every pick, even more picks. Not only will serve you well in the draft, but there'll be recall and free agency 4 and 5 years from now.
And Sean Payton would also like us to know that just because we've watched a few highlight reels and we might have our favorites, he and George Payton have been doing a deep dive. In other words, step aside because they know what the fuck they're doing.
The strategy relative to how you can draft the most amount of players that meet your threshold that you really like.
You know, there's not a lot of surprises because we'll talk through every scenario. We're both open-minded to move up, move back, and it just kind of depends where it is.
Okay, Broncos country, when I come back at you next week, we will have new rookies on the team and have a much better idea of the direction Sean Payton plans to go with this 2023 Broncos squad. Here's to 2023 beginning now. Guess what, Broncos country? No more riding, because this year we plan on driving. What do you think? Should we try that? Let's drive. I'm gonna get it in there every single time.